What's up, everybody? The NFL draft is 3 days away. Can you believe it? It has flown by here since the Super Bowl. Dynasty rookie drafts are also about to start firing up all over the place. So this week on Mock Draft Monday, we're tackling a 4-round PPR Superflex Dynasty rookie mock draft to help you get a handle on this 2026 draft before you start your drafts. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Optimus Fantasy and Mock Draft Monday. I am, of course, joined by my co-host, Mike Vadala. And we've got a special guest, our rookie guru over at Optimus Fantasy, Mr. Cam White. Yeah, guys, we're firing up a rookie Dynasty mock draft today. This is 12 teams, 4 rounds. This theoretical league is also PPR Superflex, so we will be drafting accordingly. Before we get fired up here, Cam, who's your favorite sleeper right now since you're so deep in studying this class?
Oh, my favorite sleeper. I think Jamari Taylor was the first guy that really popped for me on film when we were getting ready to go to the Senior Bowl. And every time I watch him, it's just as exciting as the first time. This guy just breaks tackles, can take direct hits from safeties and linebackers and bounce off them and keep going. And then over the last 2 years, I think in both years, he had 46 catches apiece. So we're looking at a guy that you play PPR. He's a good running back, can run in between the tackles. You can get him out wide, and he catches passes. So I'm going to be looking to get a lot of Jamari Taylor this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, barring something crazy in the draft, Cam, he's the guy who's going to be going in the 3rd and 4th rounds of these rookie drafts. So, fantastic steal. I'm going to tell you right now, I saw over the weekend, ESPN did a feature piece on Tyron Montgomery.
Ooh.
Out of John Carroll University. So he's
He was
getting
fun
some
to
love.
interview. He was great.
He was. He's a great kid, but more so they were showing him running like drills and his footwork and just the skill that he's bringing to the table with very little fanfare. So he's a guy that I'm looking to target. Mike, I want to know from you, buddy, in your opinion, which player stands to gain the most from their actual landing spot this weekend?
Ooh. Well, let's see. Gain the most. I think Makai Lemon could be somebody who, depending on landing spot, could essentially kind of jump Carnell Tate, who we've been hearing week in, week out is kind of the top wide receiver prospect. But if you see Makai Lemon land in like a Shanahan system or a McVay system, or God forbid for the rest of the NFL, with McVay or Shanahan, then we're seeing Makai Lemon instantly jump Carnell Tate, assuming Tate's going to land with like the Titans or the Browns or someone. I think that's one player where they're so neck and neck, and I even favor Tate, but I'm going to have to go with Makai Lemon here as a player who could jump up to the top of his position.
Yeah, I like that. For me, it's going to be Mike Washington because depending on where he lands in the situation that he lands in, we could have a guy who, I mean, he's being talked about as like the RB3, 4, 5 in this class right now, to where he could jump to RB2. I mean, realistically, behind Jeremiah Love if he gets the right landing spot. So we're just going to have to see how that all works out. But guys, you can peruse these prospects on optimusfantasy.com/tools. Go check it out. You can use the promo code NFL Draft through Sunday to get a week free. You can check out these guys' combine scores, their drill metrics. You can see what they did in college. We have full history player detail pages for these guys with all that information. Plus, Mr. Cam White over there underneath the promo code has written some scouting profiles for these guys. So you can check those out as well. It's going to get you ahead of the curve. That's with the code NFL Draft. Make sure you head on over optimusfantasy.com/tools. All that stuff is in the show description. Well, guys, I think it's time. I think we should draft. What do you think?
Let's do this.
All right, folks, one more quick reminder here. This is a Superflex PPR. Oh, see, so good we had to hear it twice, right? All right, guys, so this is a Dynasty rookie draft. It is 4 rounds. Superflex PPR is the assumption here on the scoring, so we will be drafting accordingly. We have all 12 teams of this draft full, set, and ready to go. Everyone's in the lobby, so let's get this thing fired up here. First pick is you, Mike.
Yep, and no hesitation here, as there shouldn't be. I'm grabbing Jeremiah Love. Just the top prospect in this class, far and away. Anywhere he lands, we can see him producing for your fantasy team immediately. One of these talents that you just do not pass up on. Even with Fernando Mendoza in a super flex draft, you're still going Jeremiah Love all day, every day. 101, easy pick for me.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree. I'm going to go with Mendoza at 102. With this being a super flex, he just makes the most sense, the most upside here, most long term upside of any player outside of, I mean, really Jeremiah Love in Superflex. Jordan Tyson goes off the board at 103, Cam, as the wide receiver one. We've seen a lot of chatter, and he's kind of moving up the board. Do we think that this is something that's, I mean, is it warranted with Jordan Tyson?
No. The situation with Tyson is if he ends on a team where he can be the number one target, you're going to love having him on your squad this next year. I don't think he's necessarily the, most refined, highest end prospect at wide receiver, but he does have the most upside. So I think if you want to just get your guy, you love Tyson going into this. He's been the number one target in all the college offenses he's been on his entire career. So that says something that nobody else has supplanted him, even as a freshman over in Colorado. So yeah, if you like Tyson, I think it's fine. I'm a Tate guy personally, and I also have Lemon above him. And then I have Tyson kind of like in his own tier, just right below those guys.
Okay. Yeah, I look right now in ESPN's draft rankings, they're top 150. Tyson has moved ahead of Carnell Tate, which I think is kind of crazy, but yeah, so that's where we're at now with that.
Yeah.
I mean, and like you said, Tyson's produced. I would have liked to have seen more out of him at Colorado in 2022. That was an offense that was just primed to produce, but he just didn't do much. But at the NFL level, I really like Jordan Tyson a lot here. Okay, we have Makai Lemon going at 104 out of USC. Mike, I know you like Makai Lemon. We just talked about Makai Lemon. How much, let's say he lands somewhere like San Francisco, all right? We see where he's going to be a feature wide receiver. How much does that bump him for you in these drafts? I mean, to the point where you'd be thinking about taking him at 102 or 103?
Yes, I do think so. I gotta say I'm pretty shocked about Jordan Tyson, one overall, or out of the wide receivers, first wide receiver off the board. I really have to strongly disagree with that. I think he could even fall as far as about, maybe the sixth wide receiver in this class. And he's got definitely great talent. He can get separation, but he does have that concerning injury history, and you just don't see the consistency on the film that you see with Tate and Lemon. Carnell Tate is just a surgical route runner, and also catcher of the football, as well as Makai Lemon has really great hands and has some insane yards after the catch ability. I just haven't seen that level of play from Tyson. I'm fine with Tyson as the third wide receiver off the board, but with the first one, I just can't disagree more, but that's okay. Everybody's going to have their own player takes, right? So I'm not shaming anybody who does that. That's just where I land on it. And if we're here trying to give people advice, I want to make sure we do call out how we feel about it. But that's okay if you disagree, and you should get in the comments and let me know why I'm wrong. So I think your question was about Makai Lemon. I am definitely okay if you want to go Lemon over Tate. I would go Tate up until we see where things land on this Thursday and who really ends up in the better landing spot. But Lemon over Tate pre-draft is fine, and post-draft, that might be where I land as well.
I think I'm already Lemon over Tate. The reason being is that we see some of these guys that are so hyped, they just never live up to that hype, right? And I'm concerned about that with Carnell Tate. Marvin Harrison, like this guy was supposed to be like the Jesus of wide receivers, and he's basically a like back end wide receiver two at best in that offense. Even if they do, like they're sticking with Jacoby Brissett, it didn't elevate him, it elevated Michael Wilson. So those are the places that I have concerns with Carnell Tate. But again, we're going to see where these guys land. All right, now Carnell Tate did go 105 after Makai Lemon. Then we've got Casey Concepcion to you, Cam, at 106. This is a guy both of us loved. Absolutely loved. I see that you absolutely love him still at 106 ahead of Omar Cooper. Let's talk about that. Do you think he has a higher ceiling than Omar Cooper?
Yeah, I think they're similar yak threats. I just really like the speed that we get out of Casey Concepcion. I think the hands, people are a little bit concerned about the drops, but honestly, it's really tough to predict drops year over year. And depending on who's throwing him the ball at the next level, maybe he's got someone that's really accurate and can put the ball like perfectly on the money and lead him into all these yak opportunities. I think he's a really violent runner, very shifty, elusive after the catch, runs really great routes, beats man, beats zone. You can move him around the formation. I just think he's one of these like freak athletes, special movers that you want to get your hands on. That's one of the things that stood out to me about Tyson as well, is that he's a special mover with his start-stop ability. And I think Concepcion has that, and that's a guy I want to buy into. It's really like splitting the difference between Cooper and Concepcion. But for me, I just like Concepcion a tad bit better. I wish we saw him at the Senior Bowl because he was very violent when he was out there on tape. But I get it. He didn't really need to come to the Senior Bowl. He already did everything he needed to do in the college season. So.
I actually read something yesterday, funny enough. One of the few reasons I still go over to Twitter is because there's just some accounts that simply don't post on Blue Sky right now. One of those being the Senior Bowl, unfortunately. But Drew Fabiniich, who is the director of the Senior Bowl now, was talking about specifically Casey Concepcion the other day. And what he said was that the reason Concepcion didn't come is because he had an injury he was trying to rehab that he wanted to keep it a little bit quiet. Otherwise, he would have been, and he was planning on attending in Mobile. I wish we would have seen him. I would love to see, but I think he's going to climb in this draft. I think that he's a guy that it wouldn't surprise me if he's a late second round, early third round pick and goes to an offense where we see him get usage almost out of the gate. He's one of the guys I feel like is an immediate contributor to an offense. He has that talent at the NFL level. All right, now after Concepcion, we had Omar Cooper out of Ohio State come off the board at 107. Then out of Indiana, Kenyon Sadiq at 108. Then Jadarian Price, the other Notre Dame running back at 109. Guys, he's the consensus running back 2 right now in these rookie drafts. We're seeing it in every mock we're doing. I'm seeing it all over the place. We're seeing a lot of people talk about, they think that he's the RB2 in this class. We talked about this last show, Mike. So Cam, I want to get your opinion on this. Is this just going to be another Roschon Johnson situation where we assume the guy's really good? We saw flashes of it behind an elite back, but it just never materializes at the NFL level?
It's tough. I think the Roschon Johnson comparison is one that we're probably going to hear a lot this offseason. I really like Jadarian Price. I think he could have started on most other collegiate teams. He's a good runner between the tackles. He's got enough speed to get out wide. When we watched him at the combine, he looked like probably the second best back in all of the drills. Big difference between him and Jeremiah Love was just Love is way more explosive and has incredible hands. But outside of that, Notre Dame used them in a very similar fashion. As soon as Love came off the field, they really didn't change their offense, which is a sign that Price can basically run the same schemes that Love can, and they're very confident in using him between the tackles. I think one of the knocks we're going to hear frequently is that Price had to go up against a defense when they're a little bit beat up, which, yeah, I get it. But we're also talking about a guy that has fresh legs that Notre Dame liked enough. And being a guy stuck behind the number 1 back in the country, he still came out in the draft rather than going back to school for another year. So I really like Price. He's not my RB2, but I do have him up in that like tier 2, top of tier 3 range.
Sure. And it's not like he didn't get work, like you're alluding to. He had 113 carries last season. He had 120 in 2024. He's averaging 6 yards per carry. I mean, that's nothing to shake a stick at, even if you are behind a guy like Jeremiah Love. And if an offense doesn't have to change pace, that's always a good thing, too. All right, we've now got Denzel Boston off the board at 110, Skylar Bell at 111, Elijah Surratt, Omar Cooper's teammate at Indiana, off the board at 112. Now, at 201, here, Mike, Eli Stowers. He has been rocketing up draft boards. Is this a landing spot thing for you? Do you think he's going to end up somewhere where he's going to get immediate usage, or is it just an overall skill? You think he's just behind Kenyon Sadiq?
There are some people out there that think that his overall skill is ahead of Kenyon Sadiq. So in terms of athleticism, straight line speed, obviously we know Kenyon Sadiq has it all. And I love Kenyon Sadiq as a prospect with all of that athleticism. I want to take chances on players like that, but I am thrilled to get Eric Stowers here early in the second round. I would even take him probably over a Jadarian Price, over an Elijah Surratt. So I'm feeling like he fell to me here, and I'm really happy with player that I do think is going to get instant usage at the NFL stage. So, yeah, I'm loving Eli Stowers here.
Okay, are we talking like Kyle Pitts immediate usage, or are we talking like Harold Fannin immediate usage?
Maybe like a Sam Laporta type of
Okay.
season at his ceiling. I think again, landing spot's going to change everything, and obviously this is our last draft we're going to be doing before the NFL draft. So we'll have to check back in on this one in a week or two to see how we still feel about Stowers. But he's really, like you said, he's been rocketing up draft boards. I think that he really has great route running ability for a tight end. And, I think that if you're drafting him as an NFL team, you're looking to use him in a place where you can kind of move him all over the field, not necessarily have like one place that he's lining up every time. He's going to be that classic kind of pass catching option, which is what you're looking for in a tight end in fantasy football.
Okay, well, you make your 301 pick here, Mike. Let's recap what's happened since the Eli Stowers pick. We've got Mike Washington. I took him at 202. He's my RB2 in this class. I know I'm not alone here. Then Jonah Coleman at 203. Zachariah Branch at 204. Ty Simpson, the man on our thumbnail, at 205. Then Cam, you hit Emmett Johnson at 206. I like this pick. There was a lot of people were really down on him after the combine. You were not one of those people, which I love that, because you're showing like the combine only matters so much. Emmett Johnson in the second round at 206 feels kind of like a steal, like he's being undervalued right now.
Yeah, I think we're seeing Jonah Coleman go ahead of him, who didn't participate at the combine, and maybe he runs like a 4.6 and he falls a little bit more. I mean, Mike Washington, I love Mike Washington, elite speed, Derrick Henry with hands kind of vibes. But I think that Emmett Johnson's better between the tackles. He's better at evading oncoming defenders, has much better ball security than Mike Washington. So, let's see where the landing spots are, what the NFL tells us as far as where is Emmett Johnson's going to go. I think he probably is going to be like a late day 2, early day 3 guy. But I think that's the case for a lot of these running backs here. I don't think there's really anybody outside of Love that you should be targeting early in this draft. I think the wide receiver depth is really where you need to be playing.
Yep, I completely agree. This is a really deep wide receiver class. All right, now we've got, speaking of which, Malachi Fields now at 207. We got Chris Bell at 208. Nick Singleton out of Penn State at 209. Katron Allen, his teammate, at 210. Jeremy Bernard at 211. Chris Brazel at 212. DeMond Claiborne. This is your pick here, Mike, at 301. I took Michael Chig at 302. Ted Hurst at 303, Jacoby Lane at 304, Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback out of LSU, at 305, I'm sorry. Now we've got Cam here at 306. While we're waiting on him, let's talk about DeMond Claiborne. This is a name that's been coming up more and more over the last couple of weeks, falling to the third round at 301. Mike, do you feel good about the value here with Claiborne?
Absolutely. I really like Claiborne. He's got really nice ability to see holes, and he's pretty elusive also. So, I really like his shiftiness to be able to get away from tacklers. And he's got enough speed definitely to get to that second level as well. I think we could see Claiborne jumping up to maybe like a top 4 running back in this class as we see the season unfold. I'm hoping that NFL teams are seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. And if so, he could work his way onto the field, I think, in the first season here.
Sure. All right. Now I went Michael Trigg here at 302. I'm a big Michael Trigg guy. I really wanted to see him in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. He did not come out, even though initially he was, but it forced me to watch a bunch of his film. And he's another one where I could see him plugging in and being an immediate difference maker in an NFL offense in the right landing spot. All right. Max Clare. That's our 306 from Cam. Is he your tight end 3 in this class? Tight end 4 in this class? How are you feeling about Max Clare?
Actually, when I was doing my scouting before the combine, I really had Stowers as my 1, Sadiq as my 2, and Claire as my 3. They're all in a single tier for me. I still have them all in a tier. I think they're all great pass catchers. I wish Claire would have had some sort of like drills or speed drills that he would have run either at the pro day or at the combine, but I really love his hands. I think he gets open. Was stuck behind Tate and Smith over in Ohio State this year. So just didn't get the volume that he saw the previous year over in Purdue. But I think he's as good as Stowers and Sadiq in this class, and just being able to get him in the third round, it's a really high value kind of pick. Tight ends, there's only like 12 maybe every single year that are going to be fantasy relevant. So I like taking a tight end in the third round, especially I think this is a deep tight end class. There's a lot of guys that I want to take stabs on, and Claire's one of them.
Yeah, this is a really deep tight end class. I mean, Tanner Koziel is a guy that we were really big on in Mobile. We're not even seeing him come off the board in some of these rookie drafts. And something to remember too, folks, when you're drafting these rookie drafts, a lot of times you're going to end up taxing these guys for a season or two, and you're not going to have to think about them. So definitely keep that in mind when you're making these picks. You're not looking necessarily for immediate starters. And if you're a contending or a championship team, most of these guys you're not going to need for a couple of seasons. So when you're drafting, keep that in mind. Like, especially with a guy like, I mean, Michael Trigg, maybe he doesn't pop immediately, but I got him in the third round. So I can put him on a taxi. He can sit behind some more established vets, and then you can plug him in if he finally catches. And if he doesn't, no harm, no foul, right? You move on. Something important to remember here. Yeah.
I think just when you're taking guys in the third, I mean, even the late second, like, and not everybody breaks out in year one. Sometimes it takes 3 years. So if you've got 3 years on your taxi, like, take the guy that's going to be able to sit, especially the QBs that are going to be able to sit for a few years. Take the tight ends. They usually don't break out until year 3, year 4.
Exactly.
So I think we've been spoiled with just all these early breakouts recently, that we jumped the gun. I mean, Michael Wilson is one that comes to mind to me, where I loved his college tape. And then last year, I was just like, I don't have room on my roster for him anymore, and I had to cut him. Wish I would have put him on my taxi.
Yep, exactly. Use those taxi squads in Dynasty, folks. It's like having your own personal little practice squad. They're fantastic. It took me a couple seasons of playing Dynasty to really lean into that, but it can be a game changer. It can be an absolute game changer. Michael Wilson was a guy I had taxied for a while, and I'm really glad that I still have him. It really worked out because he's going to be a key point of that offense. All right. After that, we've got Antonio Williams going at 307, Dazon Stribling at 308, Seth McGowan at 309, Cade Klubnik at 310, Bryce Lance at 311, Adam Randall at 312, Taylon Green at 4-1. And then I'm going to go Kevin Coleman, the wide receiver out of Missouri, at 4-2. Taylon Green. Perfect example of what I was just talking about, Mike. I love this. I think it's a great pick. Fourth rounder. We don't know what Taylon Green's going to be, but what we do know is he's freakishly athletic. These are the kinds of guys you grab in the fourth round to just, you have them. And if something does go well, boom. Fourth round pick. Really cost you nothing. And then I went with Kevin Coleman out of Missouri. I think he's going to fit in somewhere as a slot guy. I just really have a feeling that he's going to work out somewhere. Then we've got Jamari Taylor at 403, Justin Jolie at 4-4, Josh Endries at 4-5, couple of tight ends off the board here. Now we have got Cam at the 406. Before we go there, what do you envision, Mike, with Taylon Green with his fourth round pick? Like, what are your thoughts on what's possible with Taylon Green? What led you to grab him in the fourth round?
Well, just a little story about me. 2 years ago, I drafted Anthony Richardson. And last year, I drafted Jalen Milroe. And this year, I'm drafting Taylon Green. And eventually, I'm going to have a quarterback who's running around out there. And if it's the last thing I do. But in all seriousness, I just love grabbing these athletic players because one day one of these guys are going to turn into your Kyler Murray or your Donovan McNabbs or your Mike Vicks. And, I'm just willing to take the chance on that again and again and again, especially in the fourth round of a rookie draft. You can generally get fourth round rookie draft picks pretty much for free. So, I just love to, take these home run swings. Taylon Green's a great example of that. And, starting off with 3 players in the first 3 rounds that I feel really good about. Like I feel like I got great value on Stowers and Claiborne. I'm going to have fun with my last pick. We do this for fun. And this is, I think, one of the most fun picks you can make in the draft this year. So, excited to see where Taylon Green falls. Everybody seems to doubt, including me, that he might, he's probably going to be sitting for a little while. But exactly as you were saying, throw him on the taxi squad. Just wait and see what happens. And you could end up with, an Anthony Richardson, or you could end up with a Terrell Pryor. But it's going to be fun to see what happens either way.
Man, Terrell Pryor, that is a pull. I love that one. It's a great one. Yeah, with Taylon Green, I wouldn't be surprised to see him, like you're saying, Terrell Pryor get converted.
Wouldn't shock me. Pull might be like, what was it, Seneca Wallace?
Yes, Seneca Wallace. That's a
more fun.
That's a
I think Terrell Pryor's like the lazy pull on Taylon Green.
Yeah, it's fine. Honest. It's fine. All right, Jade Knott off the board at 406. We have wrapped this draft, guys. Great job. Jade Knott here at 406. He is the running back out of Oklahoma going to Cam. We'll get back to that here in a minute. Eli Heidenreich goes at 407. Then we've got Oscar Delp, the tight end, at 408. Cole Payton, love this pick. The quarterback out of North Dakota State going at 4'9". Sadeu Traore going at 4'10". Sam Roche out of Stanford at 4'11". And then Keon Owens, running back here at 4'12" to round out this draft. A couple guys here at the back end I didn't think I was going to see. I did not think I'd see Cole Payton come off the board, and I didn't think I'd see Keon Owens come off the board. These guys we're just not seeing, but the perfect type of player for the fourth round, as we have hammered on today. All right, guys, let's take a look at this draft board real quick. I want to talk about your team first, Mike. Jordan Love. Oh man, how many people are going to make that mistake in Dynasty drafts this year?
I guess I'd take him in a rookie draft if he was available.
Yeah, right. All right, we've got Jeremiah Love, Eli Stowers, Damon Claiborne, and Taylon Green. This is a pretty well-rounded draft. What I find interesting is with all of the wide receiver depth, Mike, you didn't take a wide receiver. Why not?
I was just really going best available this whole draft. And I think that is a good general strategy, especially like if I'm a 101 team, that means I probably finished last place in the year prior. And if that's the position you're in, you're just going to, I would recommend just scooping up best value, best talent you can get at any position. Obviously, these guys are all rookies, so they're all going to be on the younger side, and it's going to help you towards that rebuild. So if I had a chance at a Skylar Bell at the 201, maybe I would consider him over Stowers.
Sure.
I think the wide receivers in this class, I'm a lot higher on the top like 6 or 7 than maybe the rest of them. So,
sure.
and also just like, I kind of felt like Stowers and Claiborne where they were, I couldn't pass up. So, again, just taking best player available, which is kind of my go-to in a dynasty. Unless if I'm a contender, right? If I'm drafting from the 111, 112, then that's where I'm trying to fill that one hole in my roster that I might need to push for a championship.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. All right, let's look at your team here, Mr. Silky Waves. Casey Concepcion, Emmett Johnson, Max Clare, and Jaden Ott. Jaden Ott is a guy that you've been very high on since we saw him in Mobile. He just didn't play a lot in 2025 at Oklahoma. He never really gained his footing and was hurt. I think this could be one of the biggest steals of this draft at 406. It's one of my favorite picks. Overall, when you walked into this draft, were you just looking at best available on the board as we came around? Were you targeting specific players? How did you view this, Cam?
Yeah, so as we see these ADPs start to solidify a little bit, early in the offseason when we started doing these rookie drafts, ADP was all over the place. I was taking Ott much earlier than I was able to get him today. But now that we're starting to see where they go, I'm not really going best available player. I'm really trying to play the board based on ADP. So I knew, like, for me, I would have taken Jaden Ott probably in that same range that I would have taken Max Clare. I would have if he gets a good landing spot, he had top 30 meetings with the Chargers and the Bengals. If he ends up on the Bengals and he has a chance to beat out Chase Brown there, which I think he could, I'm probably taking him up in the second round pretty easily. But my approach when I do these rookie drafts is have your rankings, your thoughts all collected, and then look at where the ADP is and try to move yourself around the board. I think there's some really great talent in the 3rd and 4th round of this year's draft. If you're drafting ahead of the NFL draft, you might be able to get some of these guys cheaper than they will be post-draft, especially as we get through training camps and we hear what these teams actually think about guys. But my strategy today was get the guys that I'm most interested in. I loved Concepcion. I cooled on him a little bit as I watched the rest of the prospects. And then as I've gone back through and I've been writing all of these, I guess you could call them profiles or summaries over on the site for all these players, I've been adjusting my rankings, and I fell back in love with Concepcion because I have to watch a little bit more film, just to remind myself. So when I'm writing and looking at my notes of what I wrote down previously, that I can like really feel confident in what I'm speaking to. So if you go over to the website and use that code NFL Draft to take a look, I think we have 33 or 34 prospects now with summaries on their player card. So if you go to the 2026 prospect database and you click the player names, you'll go to a page specifically for that player. And I have my notes on those players. For the quarterbacks, we're going to be talking about things like their upper and lower body mechanics, how they read the field, processing third and fourth down, the deep ball, the ability to throw into coverage, throw with anticipation, etc. There's a ton of facts in there on every single one of these quarterbacks I've gotten through. And then the same for wide receivers. We're talking about like, okay, do they win on their stems? Do they win with physicality? Are they winning with their feet? I really get in depth into these players so that you will have a better idea of what this player does, rather than just like, what's their ADP value? Where did they go in the NFL draft? And what's their 40 time? You can actually see how these players win and then figure out, okay, in their new team that they're going to be on as soon as this draft is over, what role are they most likely going to play and how do they win and how is this team going to deploy them? So just wanted to do a quick little plug. I put a lot of work in there. I think I've got like 10,000 words written on all of these rookies. Most of the rookies have 300 to 400 words written on them. Got a little crazy with Ted Hurst. So if there's any Hurst truthers out there, I've got about 750 words on Hurst. I think I might have turned that down a little bit, tried to clean up some of it. But I spent a lot of time watching Ted Hurst, so go take a look at it. There's a lot of good information in there, and it'll help you understand how I'm valuing these different rookies.
Yeah, Cam, you just cut a promo for me. Thank you. I'll be clipping this and putting it back on YouTube. Yeah, guys, do go check those out because this is the kind of information that's going to help you. Like if you're doing your draft this week before the NFL draft actually happens, you're doing your rookie drafts, go read some of these profiles on players you have questions about. It's going to answer some of those questions. This is what these guys are capable of. This is the kind of system they're going to fit into. This is what they do well. This is what they don't. That's why I like Kevin Coleman in the 4th round. I know what he does well. He's a slot guy, and you're getting an insane value, and slot guys tend to go later in the drafts. Think of guys like Wes Welker. Eric Decker was a guy in Denver who was a later draft guy who ended up working into the slot really well. Julian Edelman, right? Like these are the kind of guys you get in the 4th round, and you'll figure that stuff out with Cam's profiles, guys. Code one more time, NFL Draft, optimusfantasy.com/tools. One more that I want to bring up here, Avis brand here. Ty Simpson has been getting a lot of chatter lately, guys. And I want to ask both of you, we'll start with you, Mike. Are you buying any of this hype that he's some sort of NFL caliber starting quarterback all of a sudden when he was someone that wasn't on anyone's radar, like, I don't know, 2 months ago for these drafts?
At this point, I am at the point where regardless of how I feel on him, I'm ready to take a stab at him. Like, is this Avis? Sorry, I can't quite see the username.
Avis.
But yeah, but where this manager took him, I'm totally cool with that. In a Superflex draft, you're getting a guy who's getting all this buzz, which somebody's putting that out there into the news feeds, and so there must be something to the fact that I think whatever team is maybe planning on taking him wants it to look like it's a good pick. And I think that means they're probably going to give him a chance to get out there and sling the ball around. We're in a super flex draft, mid-2nd round. I think that's totally worth. And I love that they took the stab at Nussmeier as well in the 3rd round. So I think when you're taking 2 dart throws on a player that you're going to be putting in your lineup every week, potentially, we see these players like a Brock Purdy or, there's a lot of guys out there that, maybe you're not drafting them right off the rip in the 1st round in your rookies drafts, but they're a quarterback and this is a super flex league and you're going to take that chance at just weekly production. Yep. And you never know, they could fall into the right system and become a hit. And again, I think that you're looking in your 2nd and 3rd round and grabbing quarterbacks. I think that's totally just a good strategy to go to.
with the depth of this class, guys, like quite honestly, I feel like by the time we're at the back end of the second round, it's almost dart throws. Like this, there's just outside of wide receiver, there's just not a ton of depth. Cam, we're going to wrap up here after this. Ty Simpson, a lot of media types, or a couple of scout types, not a lot of media types, a couple of scout types I've seen over the last couple of days have said the media is far higher on Ty Simpson than actual NFL franchises. If that's true, and he goes in the second round of these drafts, I mean, is that an immediate bust pick for you?
You know, I think we are higher because we're just looking for like who's the QB2 of this class, and we're trying to find him. So Ty Simpson had a good year at Alabama. There's a lot of traits that I really like with Simpson, but he only had 1 year as a starter, so you just worry a little bit, not being challenged and tested as much as some of these other quarterbacks, not seeing as many looks and being able to have like that live game action. So, I think he's good. Some of the things I wrote about him are that he gets through like 2 to 3 reads in his dropbacks. He's good running to the left and to the right, throwing on the run. As soon as he gets under pressure, he becomes a much worse decision maker. Which is going to be tough at the next level for him. I think if he's a guy that goes to a team where he's able to sit for a couple of years, and I want this for every quarterback. I want it for Mendoza as well. If he's able to sit for a few years, learn how to be a pro, how to navigate the city he's in, learn his teammates, learn his coaches, all the different play calls. I think he's got the chance to start sneaking into our Superflex lineups. But just right away, I think where he's going right now is probably where I'm a little bit more comfortable with taking him. He went at 205. I would be okay with him at 205. I think that range where you're starting to look at like, the other running backs in this class is where I would begin to take Simpson.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in, and especially everyone who drafted us with us today. We couldn't do it without you. Just a quick reminder, head on over to optimusfantasy.com/tools, sign up with the code NFL Draft and get a week free. Check out all of Cam's awesome scouting reports. We're going with scouting reports. That's what we're calling them, Cam, because it's what they are. You can also get all the combine data on these guys. You can peruse their college stats. We've just gotten tons of historical combine data too, all the way back to 2006. So make sure you check it out with the code NFL Draft. We'll be back next week, likely doing a post NFL draft, dynasty rookie mock draft. Now that we have landing spots, we're going to hammer into that because we know these drafts are firing up starting. I mean, I've got one that starts on Sunday. I've got another one that's starting on Monday. So across 20 dynasty leagues, we're going to be busy. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching this on the replay, if you are listening to the audio version or you just want more, head on over to our Discord server, guys. It is free, and we'll talk about this draft, the NFL draft, and all things NFL, and I mean, really life. We've even talked movies on there. So make sure you check it out, and make sure you like this video and subscribe, folks. We love those subscribers. Then you won't miss a video. We're going to have a Dynasty show with Mike and Cam here coming later in the week. So make sure you look out for that. But until then, I'm Nate Polvogt for Cam White and Mike Vadala. We'll see you next week, guys.